When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, as always, Colleen Biggs, and I'm kind of happy because I live in Arizona. I looked at the weather for the next 10 days, and I looked at my husband. I said, there's only 2 days that were over 105, and that's like not normal for August or September. And so last year on record was our hottest summer. From May through like October, we were in triple digits. It was just miserable, but most of the time we were over 110. And then this summer, it's actually been a little bit milder, but we've had a lot more humidity because we've had some more storms, which has actually been really nice because it's helped cool our weather off because we've had more rain. So I can't complain. I'm feeling pretty happy today about the weather. I'm also happy because my good friend, Mary Gaul, is here with us today from Success Magnified. And I want to ask you a question. If we were to magnify your success or lack thereof in your personal life and in your business, would you say somewhere in there that lack has caused you to be unhappy? Do you think that success has created happiness for you? We're going to kind of dive into that because, Mary really helps clients focus on that joy. And joy is at the very top of the spectrum. And if you don't know that, the bottom of the spectrum is going to be like shame, fear, regret, anger, all of those really low vibrating feelings. And today we're going to talk about joy. So if you're like, I need more joy in my life and in my business, that's what we're going to dive into today. But before we get to Mary, I want to thank our sponsor of today's show, Ally Spine Center. What sets our office apart from other offices is our focus and expertise in treating degenerative spinal conditions, including disc disease, bulging herniated discs, spinal stenosis, neuropathy, sciatica, pain, tingling, and numbness in the arms, hands, legs, and feet, as well as severe and chronic neck pain and headaches. They specialize in corrective care, not just the treatment of the symptoms with physical medicine modalities. So in many cases, they do use pre and post images to help determine the structural improvements in the spine. So if you're suffering with any of this, or know of anyone who is, please contact Ally Spine Center at 480-809-4700 and visit them on allyspinecenter.com. They are located in Scottsdale, Arizona. However, I will tell you that Chris and his wife, Allie, they know corrective care across the United States. So if you're struggling with any of this and you've just been treated for some of these symptoms, but it's not really corrective care, please reach out to them because they can connect you to someone that can really help you with that. So I'm glad that they are sponsors of today's show. They help me with my neck. I mean, everything has to do with the imaging and understanding your bone structure in your neck and your back. So important. All right, here we go with Mary. She's the owner of 2 businesses for over 11 years, a speaker and an author of 2 books. She's a certified business coach who guides entrepreneurs to find practical solutions and new ideas that has joy in it for growth and success. She helps them to see the big picture, prioritize goals and strategies, and helps hold them accountable while having some fun and building joyful profits. Mary, welcome to today's show.
Thank you so much, Colleen. I'm always so happy to be on this podcast and to get to talk to your listeners.
Okay, so when did you start thinking about joy? Because usually we focus on something that we weren't focused on before, and it becomes this magnified area because we were unhappy at some point. Was there a time when you felt stressed out or overworked, or you're just like, this has to be funner than what I'm making this out to be?
Yes, I'm human. Although I do tend to be more on the positive side. I do try to find the joy. It's just been a natural way since I was a little kid, I've always been more joyful, I think, than most people. But I do get stressed out. I do get in the doldrums, right? I do get have those thoughts about why am I doing this, or is this really what I'm stuck with? So I do feel that all the time throughout my career in the corporate world. Had moments of that too, and when I knew it was time to leave my last W-2 job, I was really feeling that like this cannot be all there is to do with my life, right? This is not going to be my life for the next 30 years. I don't want to do this anymore, right? And so I understand and can relate to that feeling of stuckness and unhappiness, and just where everything is just, I would just come home in such a bad mood, and I would complain. All I was doing was complaining about my job and people I worked with and the clients that we were seeing. And I just was like, this is not how I want to live my life, right? So it comes down to recognizing when you're in that state. Mm-hmm. And I think we're all human beings. We all go through that state, right? So I don't know that you can avoid it ever in your life, but recognizing when you get in it. And then the biggest shift for me has always been, I get to control my thoughts and reactions. So regardless of the situation I find myself in, I get to control, do I want to see this as a positive or a negative? Do I want to make a positive action or continue down the negative path of just complaining, and not finding a solution? I've always been one that likes to find a solution. And when you said action plan earlier, I love a good action plan, because it really does. That's the ladder that helps you climb out of that hole when you're stuck, right? So the action plan can really help you take those small actions, even just to shift your attitude slightly. I work with clients a lot who are like, is this the right thing? Should I go get a job? Should I, I'm not getting what I want out of my business. And so really just going back to what brings them joy, what brought them joy when they started their business, and then saying, okay, now how do we get away from that? And it's easy because there's so many things we need air quotes to be doing in our business, right? And that can kind of start to suck the joy out of why we started to work with our business in the first place. Mm-hmm. So going back to what brought you joy, and then creating an action plan to get back to doing more of that, so that your business can be joyful and it can be profitable, right? It's not either or. Some business owners think, especially service providers, think it's one or the other. Either I make money or I love what I do, right? But it's not either or, it's an and. We can find that and for them.
Don't you love what you do, Mary?
I do. I absolutely love what I do. Yes.
Yeah, I do too. Like, and in my mind, if I don't like it, I don't do it. And so, I think that as we are leaders in that area for other people to say, well, they're like, well, I have to do this. It's like, you don't have to do that.
Right.
There's a lot of things that I don't like to do, so I don't. I have kids that spend their days promoting themselves on Instagram all day long, whether they're hairdressers. I have a niece that does that, whether they're real estate agents. And they've said, because I show up on social media 20 times a day in stories and reels and all these things I'm doing all day, that's how I get a lot of my clients. I'm constantly promoting myself, and it works for me and I really like it. Well, when I think about doing 20 of those videos a day and putting myself out there, I don't think that brings me a lot of joy.
Right.
And that would cause me to feel anxious, like I have to do all of this. But I think when someone enjoys it and they love it and it's the way they put themselves out there, then it's easy for them. People ask me all the time, you do a lot of events. It's like, well, they're easy for me. When I create events, they seem very easy. The flow is easy. Promoting them is easy. Getting people enrolled is easy. I just really love doing events, and in person, online. And I said, I love it. It's easy to me. So to me, that is joy in my work. And if I don't enjoy it, so I'm going to ask the listeners, what are you doing that you don't enjoy, that you think you have to do, that you're still doing, but you're finding no joy in it? And maybe we could flip that around, Mary. So let's use networking as an example. A lot of people tell me, I'm an introvert, I hate networking. I don't know. Is that an excuse, or are they really like hate networking? Let's say they really don't like it and they feel out of sorts going out and meeting with other people. What are some of your suggestions for that, for someone that's a big one? I hear that a lot.
Right. It is. And we need a community to grow our business. We absolutely need, you cannot grow your business in a silo. So you have to go out there and meet people. And so there's, in this day and age of technology that we live in, it's so easy to go out and meet people. Whether you want to meet people in person, you can do it online. There's all kinds of online options where you can network with people for an hour on Zoom. You know, if that is too much social interaction, right? Then there's even options like, I think it's called Lunch Club. I was part of that for a while, and they use it. You can match you up and they put you in a one-on-one with somebody who has similar interests to you. So it's almost like a dating app, but for business, right? But just to have a conversation. So, but you already have some things in common that you can start your question, your conversation around. So if you need to do one-on-one or small groups online or go to an event in person, there's so many ways to, make yourself more comfortable. And knowing that if you are a true introvert and you really don't like being around big crowds of people, then choose smaller groups or go with a friend, take a buddy, and then you have your kind of wingman with you or wingwoman with you, right? To kind of touch base with across the room or use each other to introduce each other to somebody new. So that way you feel a little bit more comfortable. You have your kind of safety blanket there. That's a great way to go out and meet new people, but you absolutely have to be meeting new people to grow your business.
Number one rule in business, tell everyone about you. I would say the largest percentage are for me or referrals. It's that social capital of who knows me. And that's how I get on stages. That's how I'm paid to be on stages. That's how other people buy tickets to my events. It has everything to do with other people telling them about me.
Right.
And so I don't have to do any work on that. The work I have to do on the front end is getting out there and telling everybody. And then once you've built those great relationships with people. So I look at it like a dinner party. If you're going to a dinner party, you don't drill the other person when you get there about, hey, Mary, what do you do? And it's like, hey, where do you live? And do you have a family? And do you have kids? And it's all about personal. And I find that if we approach a conversation about getting to know the other person, period, and not making it about our elevator pitch and all those things, then doing that really helps us be able to just relax and ask the other person and take the spotlight off us and ask them questions and get to know somebody. Yeah.
And that's a great idea. If you are an introvert, have 3 or 4 of your favorite questions that you use as icebreakers when you meet somebody new, if you are going to an event, or even if you have time at a speed networking or online event, if they don't give you a question. But have a question. Like, I always love to ask people, what book or podcast do you read that I should know about? Or what activity have you done that I should know about, right? Or what charity or cause, if you're at a charity event, right? What other charities do you support, right? So there's always a question.
Right.
You have a couple of those questions just in your brain, ready to pull out. People love to talk about themselves. And if you ask them a question about what they're passionate about, without using that word passionate, because it can kind of set people off. But if you just say, what are your other interests, or what book or podcast or what TV show are you binge watching right now, right? And so it lets them share something about themselves, and then it makes it easier to carry on the conversation. And it doesn't have to be about business. It doesn't have to be, what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? So
I picture it like sitting around when I go out with my girlfriends that I see maybe 2 or 3 times a year and we go to dinner. We don't talk about work. We're just always talking about our lives and our kids. And that's when I get all my Netflix binge worthy shows. They say, have you watched this? Have you watched this? I'm like, no. And they're like, oh my gosh, you would love it. So I think that's fun. And remembering that people love to talk about themselves, like you said, and people are just people. So even though they're also business owners, when someone walks up to me, it drives me crazy. They throw their business card down and they say, what do you do? And I feel so offensive in that moment. That's just me, because I really think that's abruptly and abrasive and coming at me with like, what do you do? And so I just look at them and I'm like, oh, hey, did you want to know a little bit about me? And I'll ask them some
Right.
questions like, what brought you here today? How did you become? I was at a NAWBO event where that happened. How did you become part of NAWBO? How long have you been in NAWBO? Like you
Right.
can ask them about the organization that you're in and how long they've been there. And do they know some other people they can introduce you to that are in the room? Right. So I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways. And it seems to me that I hear a lot lately, people are busy. And when you're busy, that's the opposite of happiness and joy. When you're like busy. Busy feels heavy.
Yeah.
Busy's like a societal construct of this. You can get rewarded after you're busy because that's like also a badge. And then
Right.
you can get rewarded when you're done for doing the busy work. But I
Yes.
find that sometimes being out and meeting people and going to conferences or going to events or meeting people one to one, maybe out at a restaurant and spending your day doing those. A lot of people think like, well, then you got to come home and do all the busy work. It's like, no, that is what you're like. That's the number
Right.
one thing you need to be doing, right? Is getting out there
Yeah.
and telling everybody about you and building long lasting relationships with people. It provides opportunity.
Yes.
But so many
Yes.
people stay behind their computer, Mary, and then I got all this busy work and I
Yeah.
hire out my busy work. You have another business that's a virtual assistance business. Did you want to tell us a little bit about why that's important to you and why you have a team?
Yes, it's very important because there are a lot of things that we need to do in our businesses, right? And there are things that don't bring us joy. And so what can you get off your plate that doesn't bring you joy? For many people it is the social media or some of the marketing aspects of their business, or it's their bookkeeping, right? We don't do bookkeeping, but there's lots of people, lots of great bookkeepers out there in the world that love to do that. And that's something I have never loved to do. I like to look at the reports. I like to know my numbers, but I don't want to have to do all the daily reconciling and downloading and all that stuff, right? So I knew that didn't bring me joy. That was one of the first things I got off my plate when I could afford a bookkeeper. I was like, get this off my plate, right? So again, it goes back to what brings you joy, and then what are bringing you results. Again, people need to look at their numbers to know what is working and what's not working. And if you're doing a lot of social media, but you never interact with it, or you never get clients from it, or clients never your social media never books a call with you, then maybe you don't need to do so much social media, right? Maybe you need to go out and meet people one-on-one and have more discovery calls, right? So I just this week have given two of my clients permission to take things off of their plate. And sometimes we need permission to not do things, right? Because we feel like, oh, everybody else is doing this. I've got to do it. I've got to do it. And we don't. So we get to choose the things that we get to do in our business and what brings us joy. And then when you're more joyful, you are going to attract more of the clients that you want to work with naturally.
Yeah.
You're showing up in that more joyful energy, and people want to be around people who are happy. So they want to be around people who are stressed out and busy.
We need more joy. Yeah. And if you're
We
not
do.
quite sure about all the different feelings you go through, watch the movie Inside Out and then watch the movie
Yes.
Inside Out too, right?
Yes.
Because joy is a big piece of that.
Yes.
Okay, tell them about your Friday paddleboarding networking that you kind of
Yes.
combine two things that you love so much. And you did that. You were like, I want to get outside more in the summer and I want to enjoy nature, but I also know that I feel like I can't just take a full day off in the middle of the week and go do that. So you created a way for people to network around that so they too could get out of the office and have a good time. So what was that about?
Yes, I did this. We are just wrapping up our 8th season of On the Water Networking. 9 summers ago, I did this just with my 2 daughters who were getting ready to kind of, go to college and be empty, not come home for the summers. And so I did that with them. We had specific dates and times we would go out and paddleboard. And I just loved it. And it was such a great summer. And the next summer, I was like, I'm going to invite my network to come out and paddleboard with me twice a month. We started with just twice a month. Now we do it every Friday because I just love it so much. So every Friday morning, I invite my network to come out and paddleboard with me. So we're on the water for a couple of hours. We paddle around for a bit. We stop, we sit and float and put our feet in the water and talk about what's going on in our business or in our lives, or what's going on for the summer and what we're looking forward to, and books we're reading and that kind of stuff, right? So it's just like going out for happy hour or something, except we're sitting on a paddleboard, which I love. And we've had just beautiful days. I love being on the water, and I usually get in and swim a little bit around circles around people while they're floating. But it's just been such a great experience. And people that come out, I've had several women that have come with me almost every Friday, every summer when we do it, just because they look forward to it, as do I. I'm sad that it's almost September and the water gets too cold and the weather starts to shift. So we have
especially in Colorado, where
we're in Colorado. If we were in Arizona, we could do it year round. Yeah. But it's something that really brought me joy, and now I see the joy that it gets to bring in other people.
Yeah.
And because we're all entrepreneurs and we get to own our businesses, I've seen the shift that it's made in other people's businesses, because they get to take control of their time and say, yes, I am going to go out on Friday morning, block off my time for something fun and get out in the sunshine. And then if I choose to work in the afternoon, I can. I always tell people you can be at your desk by 1:00 if you choose to. So that's up to you. But take the morning off, and then they're more productive, they're more relaxed, they're ready to go into the weekend. And it just has made such an impact in everybody who's come out. I had one person come out at the beginning of the summer, and she's like, I feel like I finally took a deep breath for the first time in months.
Yeah.
Just because she had time away from her desk, away from her task list, talk to other entrepreneurs, and just relax and get out and get some sunshine. So
why are we chaining ourselves to our desks and beating ourselves up? Like, I don't get it. When I plan to get my car serviced, I'll plan it like on a Thursday or a Friday in the middle of the day. I do that on purpose so that I block off a big block to get out of my office. And then whenever I go, how in the past I've done this. Okay. So I've matured in my joy and my happiness.
Yes.
And I will say, no, I'm going to stay. And I'll chill out in the lobby. I'll bring my computer. I might have a phone call. I might do some work. This Thursday, my daughter-in-law's picking me up. We're going to go do lunch, and then we're going to come back. And I just find that I'm getting all the tasks done that I need to get done, in my life, in my, for my car, and all the things we need to get done. It doesn't have to be hard. Why not create joy around all the things that we know need to get done? Create joy around it. And I would say right now, if you're like, I have too much stuff to do, I hear what you guys are saying, but I have way too much stuff to do, I can never get away from my desk, your first call should be Mary. And we're going to talk about how you reach out to her, but you need to connect with her, because the very first thing she's going to do is give you permission to start offboarding some of these things to someone that can help you, like a virtual assistant. And they do not need to be expensive. I mean, I've heard all the excuses on why someone can't do that. You cannot grow your business beyond a certain point without a team, without help, without community, without any of that. You just cannot. Mary and I know she's owned several businesses. I own several businesses. We know you can't do that. I could never run the 3 businesses we do today. Well, we have 4 now. I could never run those without all of the team that's doing their thing. Like, I couldn't be at all of those places doing every single task. And that's what we think needs to happen. But look at where you came from. If you were in corporate America, were you doing everyone's job? Was the CEO doing everyone's job? No, they weren't. You were reporting to them, and you were responsible for a task. So your virtual assistant would be responsible for those tasks. So I know you do CEO days. Mary, tell us, why do you do CEO days? What is the importance of that? And why did you create it? Because I've attended one and I loved it.
Yes, because it is important for us as small business owners to know what's happening in our business. Because people get so stuck in the busyness of running their business, they're in their business all the time. They never take time to step back and look at it from the CEO level perspective. Like, what is really happening in my business, instead of me just running it all the time, right? So I created these at the end of the year. We do a full day where we look at the whole year and plan out for the next year. But then I created these quarterly check-ins, which are just 3 hours. It's once every quarter, at the end of each quarter. where we look at what are your numbers for this quarter and year to date. So what are your financial numbers, your profit and loss? Are your expenses going up? Are your, just taking that CEO level look of what's really happening in your business. And then, how are you spending your time? Are you spending your time? Are you having did you celebrate anything in the last quarter? Did you, what would you like to celebrate? Did you take a vacation? How did you spend your free time, right? So we dive into all of that as well. And then we look at where are we at with our goals. So if you have goals for the year, we say, okay, we're coming up on the end of the third quarter, and my next CEO day is in October. So we would look at, we're 3/4 of the way through the year. Where are you at on your annual goals? Are you getting close? Do we need to adjust things? How do we need to wrap up the fourth quarter so that you can get close to those goals or achieve them or, blow them out of the water, hopefully. So, so it's really just taking time each quarter to look at what's really happening in our business from a high level. And then we go into the detail so that you actually know, okay, I know my top 3 things I'm selling, and I know that they're profitable, right? Based on what my numbers show me. So instead of, I'm going to keep adding new services and products, and then you've got 25 products, but none of them are profitable, or you're not selling as many as you think you are, right? So we actually dive deep into those numbers, and it happens on Zoom. So you don't have to share your numbers with anybody, but you're also just in that small community of other business owners who are doing the same work at the same time, holding that space for you guys to look at your numbers, whether you like looking at numbers or not. Doing it in this kind of community where everybody's doing the same exercises at the same time is really helpful and it's powerful. And that knowledge will really shift how you look at your business going forward.
It's a wake-up call for me in some areas. Like, there were some incomes that were like, there was a big issue with the way it was done. So it was, it was a huge wake-up call for me. And I went in and worked with a team to be able to get everything fixed from that point moving forward. So, and it felt good to shift your mindset and step back and work on your business, which we need to be doing on a regular basis to analyze the growth of the business. And it's fun because you're doing it with other people. So you support business owners in so many different ways, because you also do peer advisory boards, you do retreats, you work one-on-one for someone who's really at a level where they just need that one-on-one attention. So you want to tell us a little bit about how you offer working with clients?
Yes. So as you mentioned, I like to give small business owners a variety of ways to work based on what they need, right? So I love the peer advisory boards. I think that's, again, they're a small community, 7 women entrepreneurs. We meet once a month, but it provides that safe community where you can come and talk about what's really happening behind the scenes of your business, where you can't really go and have those kind of conversations at a networking group because you have to be the one that you want them to refer business to, right? So you can't say, oh my gosh, I don't have a CRM and I don't know, I'm losing clients like crazy. And you can't say that in a networking event, but you can come to a peer advisory board and say, I just lost my biggest client, or I'm dropping the ball here and there and I've got to get my systems in order, right? What do you guys use? And so it's really that magical place where we can have this safe space to talk about how we're feeling in our business, what's going on in our business, what we need in our business, and then get that input from other business owners. And then working one-on-one with clients, I'm all about focus, right? So I love to help people get all of those ideas out of their head that are just spinning and keep them stuck because they don't know how to move forward. I love to get those out of their head and into a prioritized action plan for them. Sometimes we eliminate things, right? So I give people permission and say, we don't need to worry about that. Let's take that off your list. Or let's procrastinate on purpose and let's put that off for 6 months and then we'll pick it back up again. But for right now, we need to focus on these things that are going to move your business forward. So I loved working with people one-on-one to help them really get that experience and that clarity. And then I am excited. I do my CEO days. So those happen every quarter. As I mentioned, the next one is October 9th. And you can find the details on my website. We'll put all that up there. And then I have a retreat happening in October, which I am so excited about because, as we mentioned, sometimes we need to get away from our desk and away from our space, right?
Retreats are the best way to invest in you and your business because you have so much time just to focus on it and get guidance and have other people there to help you. It is literally like having an executive board available to you an entire weekend. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. That's happening October 4th through the 6th in Colorado at this beautiful mountain estate. It's on 183 acres. So we're going to do some fun outdoor stuff. And
Wow.
it's a beautiful home for us to just relax and enjoy and have that space and time to think.
Yeah.
I was just at a retreat and one of the ladies is a mom of young kids and she's like, it was so nice just to have the quiet and not be hearing mommy, 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 mommy all weekend long, right? So that gave her the space and time to think about her business without her kids,
Yeah.
or dogs, or pets, or whatever being a distraction. And so I highly encourage people to check out the retreat. It's called the Biz Bestie Getaway, October 4th through the 6th. So you can details on my website or just reach out to me in the notes below.
And you will also get some besties. Like you will be walking out of there with friends for life and
Mhm.
connections and people that you can have in your pocket to be able to talk to and work with. It's really amazing. So I highly recommend that you do that. In fact, I'm reading a book right now, Worthy, and she was just talking about that. And you mentioned something about all the things they had in their head, Mary. It's Jamie Kern Lima. Did I say that right? Or Lima Kern from It Cosmetics. I always switch her middle and last name. But she talks a lot about how it's not our fear, it's our knowing that how amazing we could be. It's not the
Yeah.
fear that stopped us. It's this knowing of how amazing it can be that really holds us back. So when you get in other rooms with people that kind of fuel that and believe in you, you build that confidence over time to know
Mhm.
that you can do it. And that's why we need coaches and mentors and guidance and peer advisory boards and retreats and all these things along the way. These are tools that support you in the growth of your business, because what you don't know, you don't know. And that's why you need to be in the places of people that can provide you that knowledge. So it's successmagnified.com. That's Mary. That's your website, correct?
Yes.
Successmagnified.com. You can reach Mary at successmagnified.com. We have all of that listed for you here. And you can link with her on LinkedIn. There's a link for you to schedule time with her for a 30-minute focus time. These are all available to you. She also has the Joyful Entrepreneur podcast,
Yes.
which I think is so great that you did that and have that
Yes.
out there. And what were some of the subjects that you talked about on that podcast?
Oh, I did it with another partner of mine, another coach, and we did a pop-up podcast. So it's only 9 episodes. We threw in a bonus episode about time and how to, just be more productive. But we talked about everything from how to network and your sales conversations and how to be more productive and how to use the tools in yours that are available to us now, right? With ChatGPT and some of the other tools that you have available to you. But the very first one is really, how are you connected to your business? So what brings you joy and how do you use your natural gifts and talents? So even if you just listen to episode 1, it'll help you to re-spark that joy in your business. Find out what you love about your business or what you used to love about your business and now you've kind of slid away from that. So I really encourage people to go back and listen to that episode.
Heck yeah. The Joyful Entrepreneur. So we've got YouTube links and we have links here for you to follow for that. And so that could be a good place for you to start if you're not quite ready to hop on the phone or, head to a retreat or be in a peer advisory board or work one-on-one. That could be a good place to start. So, Mary,
Yeah.
thank you so much. You are the epitome of success magnified. You always put it out there for everyone. You are always open about how you've grown your businesses. You're very open about teaching others how to do that in a way that works for their life. And I think that's what we have to remember. There is no one out there telling you you have to do things a certain way. Be
Right.
happy, be joyful, have passion in your business. The more that you do that, the more people are attracted to you because it's contagious. They want to be around you, right? So they're attracted to you, they want to be around you. And then you're happy, the people around you are happy, and we're all more successful because when you're passionate about something you love, love it, that other person gets enrolled very easily. There's no selling that's done there. When you're stressed and feeling like you're not joyful and you're busy and you can't breathe and you can't give yourself permission to unchain yourself from your desk and you're trying to sell something to someone, they're like, no,
Yeah.
they're like, beep, beep, alarms are going off, right? Because they're feeling anxious just talking to you. So if you're talking about all of these things you can help them do, they're like, I don't know, because that person feels a little anxious. So I think we have to remember that too. How we show up is one of the most important things for our business. And Mary, you do that so well. And I've always admired you. I've always admired your work and how you show up and all of the women that you serve and people that you are empowering to be able to run their businesses with joy and happiness and find an easier way to reach their goals without it being so much pressure and feeling like they're in a pressure cooker all the time, like they're going to burst, right? You
Yes.
kind of relieve that lever for them and say, okay, breathe, let the pressure out.
Yes. Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just remind all of you, for all of you that have been listening for a long time, you hear me say it every episode. You're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that will ever be. This can be so fun and joyful and happy to own businesses. And honestly, it should be the best time of your life. And if you feel like it's the worst, then the first call you need to have is Mary. You've got to
Yes.
be having these conversations with people to find out, like, why do I feel, and it's okay to say, why do I feel this way? Why do
Yeah.
I feel this way about my business? Why do I feel this way about what I'm doing? What am I not doing correctly? What am I doing that's causing me to feel this way? And that's where Mary can diagnose that for you. So, Mary, thanks so much for being a member of the LEAP community. Thank you so much for being here on the podcast today. What you shared was powerful for all the listeners. And you truly do find joy in your work. And I hope that everyone listening will also strive to do the same.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. All right, listeners, until next time, don't forget, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery, where you learned the tools to create a life by design. Remember, you are the only you there is, and you are the only you that will ever be. Be you and be strong, because you are brilliant, and the world needs you at your best. We cannot wait for you to join us again next time.